Hello, assalamu alaikum everyone to all academics and also those joining in from other universities and elsewhere. Welcome to our next series of ADAC e-learning webinars. Today we're very fortunate because we have together with us Professor Dr. Abdul Karim alias. Prof. Karim is from USM. He's the director of the Center for Development of Academic Excellence, and he's also a professor in food technology. But more importantly, he is one of Malaysia's most, if not the most, well-respected expert, practitioner, sifu, guru, whatever you call it, on e-learning. And we are very fortunate today that Prof. Karim has spared his time to talk to us in about e-learning with students with limited internet or doing e-learning with low bandwidth. So without further ado, I'd like to hand the floor over to Prof. Karim. So Prof. Karim, if you may.
Okey, terima kasih Dr. Amira. Boleh nampak skrin ke?
Boleh, Alhamdulillah. Cantik skrin, Prof.
Okey, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. Selamat petang kepada semua yang dapat hadir, yang dapat join pada petang ini. Thank you for joining this webinar. I'm sure in the last 3-4 weeks you've been attending so many webinars. I hope this webinar today, this afternoon, there are some new things perhaps you can learn. By the way, I have to say this again and again, I'm not expert on online learning or e-learning, but basically I'm just a practitioner. I've been using online or e-learning for a long time since I joined USM, so I'm talking about 26 years now. Even before that, when I was doing my PhD also, I was into technology, very much into technology. So this afternoon, first of all, thank you, Dr. Amira, thank you, EDEC, for inviting me, for having me this afternoon. And the topic given to me is low bandwidth e-learning. Low bandwidth e-learning, and actually I've been sharing this topic to a few universities recently, to UUM, to UMT, and I have also recorded a video on something related to doing online class or online learning for low bandwidth or low internet connection. So I will start this presentation, but halfway maybe I will stop, and maybe you can maybe ask. You can start asking questions now if you have any questions. Then halfway I will stop and maybe address some of the questions. All right. The picture on the slide. I love this picture. I've been using this picture on my ebook and whenever I can. Because the picture of two boys laughing, very happy, doing things on the computer, that really give the picture of how education is very important and is very vital for us to reach everyone, so that no one is left behind, no one will be deprived of education, and that's basically part of the SDG 4 in the UNESCO's Sustainable Development Goal, Goal 4 on education. Okay, I have actually about 76 slides. Don't worry about it. Now it's 3:30. Hopefully we can get it done by 4:30. I have a lot of pictures. That's why I have a lot of slides, and all the slides. And all the resources that I'm going to mention in this presentation, I will give you the link towards the end. So you will get a link to download all the slides, and also the link to some of the resources that I'm going to mention in this presentation. Okay, so don't worry, everything will be given to you. But the link I will give the link towards the end, because I want to make sure you wait until the end. Okay. Now, basically, only two things that I want to share this afternoon. One, I'm going to talk a little bit about transitioning to online. What are the challenges? This has been covered in other webinars maybe, but from my perspective, how do we transition from face-to-face to online, and what are the challenges, and how do we deal and address those challenges? And the second one is basically the major part of this presentation is to share some ideas, especially how do we approach our online class in terms of planning, designing, and delivering our class, especially for those having a very low internet connection, or we call it low bandwidth connection. So how do we design our online class to cater for this group? Okay. Now, I think since in the last 4 or 5 weeks, when we start to do online from face to face, and everyone is doing online, and perhaps we have seen this word, remote teaching, and this has become a buzzword now. So we have online learning, online teaching, teaching online, remote teaching, remote learning. So what is it actually? So this actually, in terms of the term that is commonly used, is emergency remote teaching, or ART, which simply means abrupt migration to online learning, a temporary shift of instructional delivery to an alternate delivery mode due to crisis circumstances. And you can check out this article, the difference between emergency remote teaching and online learning, to read more about the difference between so-called well-designed online learning and remote teaching. So there's actually two schools of thought. Some of the so-called the advocate of online learning, they say what we are doing now is not online learning, because if you want to do online learning, it has to be well planned, and you have to design the whole course, and it will take a long time to really get the online course really ready and to be delivered in the best possible way. But some people say, oh, okay, what we are doing now is also some form of online learning, because we are using the online tools, online platform. But maybe it's not really the full-blown, well-designed e-learning or e-learning course. But whatever it is, because now we have very little time to really fully develop the online class or online course following the proper model or the proper pedagogical principles and so on. So we try to do whatever we can within a short time. At least we can still carry on with our online class. So don't worry so much about the terminology, but perhaps you have seen the term remote teaching or emergency remote teaching. So just know what is actually the meaning of this term. Okay, so check out this article if you want to read more. Now, basically, when we transition from face-to-face to online, previously we are perhaps most of us are perhaps more familiar with doing blended learning. So we teach face-to-face to our full-time students, but at the same time we have the course also on our online platform. In the case of you have your Spectrum, if I'm mistaken. But we are not doing it as a full online course. So we are doing more like a blended learning. But now, since now we have to do everything online because of the MCO, one of the main issue or main concern is whether all the students will have access to our online class or online course. So that's the main concern in terms of whether we can reach out to every students wherever they are, without not even one student will be left behind or not able to access the online class. So this is a question of the the equitable transition to online learning in order to ensure that all the students will have access to the course or to the class. So this is the main thing or the main issue that we have to keep in mind when we design or when we deliver our online class, whether the students would have access to it. Okay. Now, to keep things into perspective, I think we need to start with looking at the big picture. We need to have some baseline data as to what is the status, the state of kind of the accessibility and availability of internet connection to our students, because we are talking about the equitable access just now. So if you are interested to look at the whole report, this is actually digital in Malaysia website. You can Google data. You can just Google digital in Malaysia. You will come to this website, and we have the latest data, digital 2020, with respect to Malaysia. But you can also look at the data for the whole, for the global, for the world, for the whole world. So I extract some of this information here. If you look at first at the global level in the world, around the world, digital around the world in 2020, as of January 2020, you can see here out of 7.75 billion total population, 5.19 billion is unique mobile phone users. This simply means that at least the person have at least one mobile device. So at least one, meaning that they can have more than one. And this figure, 5.19 billion, translate to 67% of the world population has at least one mobile phone or mobile device. Okay, and in terms of internet users, we can see from 7.75 billion, 4.5 billion has access to internet, which translates into 59% of the whole population, the world population. So around 60%, which means that there are still about 40% of the world population still have no access, direct access to the internet. And in terms of the active social media users, you can see there it's about 49% internet penetration. Okay, sorry, 49% active social media users. Okay, let's look at Malaysia. So we zoom in into Malaysia. We have about 32 million population now, and we can see in terms of mobile phone connection, about 41 million. That translates into 127%. What does it mean? So this means that in terms of the mobile connection, actually, is quite widespread in terms of Malaysian population. And in terms of internet user, about 27 million, which translates into 83% internet penetration, which is quite high compared to 3 years ago. I remember the figure was about 77%, but now is about 83%, and the growth rate I think is about 3 to 5% every year. So meaning that in 2-3 years time, this figure could reach about 90%. Okay, and in terms of the active social media users, about 81%. Now, when we look at the device ownership, 98% has some type of mobile phone, 97% has a smartphone, 97%, okay, and laptop, 72% has a laptop, 32% has tablet. So, which I think is not, it's quite a high figure. So meaning that there are still small number that has no device like a phone or a smartphone, or laptop, maybe a little bit more. But it's a matter of time before majority of the Malaysian population will have at least one of these devices. And this figure is very important. This data is very important because when we talk about planning for our online class or online course, we need to know in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of the connectivity, whether we can reach out to every single student in our class. And in terms of connection speed, so this actually brings to my presentation today, talking about the high bandwidth or the low bandwidth access. We can see in general, the average speed of mobile internet connection is about 24 Mbps. 24 Mbps we can do actually a lot, and this can be considered, in the medium range of the internet bandwidth or internet speed. Okay, and for the fixed internet connection, using the what we call this, the cable, the average speed is about 78 Mbps, which is about 3 times higher than the mobile internet connection. And to me, if students have access within the range of this internet speed, then there should be there shouldn't be a major problem for them to have an online class quite smoothly. Well, this data is actually showing us in terms of the top messenger application around the world. And it's very interesting. You can see the green color there. The green color is quite large, and that represents actually WhatsApp. WhatsApp is actually very popular. And the blue one, which is in the Northern America, Australia, some part of the African, the blue is actually Facebook Messenger, and the rest is small messenger application. So we can see the majority of the people have WhatsApp and very active on WhatsApp. In Malaysia, you can see green color. So meaning that perhaps the last kind of resort, if the students cannot access our online class through the web, maybe we have to reach them through the messenger application like WhatsApp or Telegram. But I don't see the Telegram in this diagram, so meaning that maybe it's very small fraction of people are using Telegram. And finally, in terms of the data that I want to share here, the most used social media platforms here, you can see YouTube is the most popular. So the video platform, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and FB Messenger and Twitter. These are the top 5 social media application or messenger application that perhaps we can use this data to help us to strategize in terms of the platform to deliver our online class. Now, how much actually, when we talk about bandwidth, how much bandwidth do we need to teach online? Any guess? Hey man, I want to ask you these questions, but before that, these are the kind of the how do you say, the categories, the categorization in terms of the internet speed, yeah, in Mbps, measured in Mbps, and what you can do with that. So there are 4 bands here, 0 to 5 Mbps. This can be considered on the lower end, but it's not that so-called low bandwidth. Low bandwidth, perhaps I would say, maybe 1 Mbps and lower, that's considered very, very low. But I think if around 5 or 4 Mbps, there are a lot of things we can do. What we can do between 0 to 5 Mbps, stream music from Spotify or Pandora, email, and basic web browsing. This is very important. If the students, if we have a group of students that is in this first band, which is the lowest among these 4 bands bandwidth here, as long as they can do some basic web browsing, I think it should be okay. They are okay, and we should be okay. Also, we can deliver our online some of our online class on the web using the web-based application or web-based platform. If they can listen to the music from Spotify, then we can deliver some of our online content in the form of audio. Okay, then this is where we can use podcasts, or the most basic, we can use the microphone in the WhatsApp or on the Telegram. Then we can just talk and deliver the audio. So meaning that if the students are in this band, there's still a lot we can do. 5 to 40, the next one, we can do Skype, FaceTime call, play online video games, stream video from Netflix on a single device. Well, if some of our students within this band, then we can do a lot more in terms of how we design and deliver our online. 40 to 100, stream video from Netflix or YouTube on multiple devices, download large file. And between 100 to 500 plus, we can do a lot more. So now the questions are, which band are you between these four? I am in this band, the blue one, between 100 and 400 plus. Just now I checked my speed. I get around 230 Mbps, which is not bad. I can do a lot of things. I can complain. So now, what about you? Can I get you to answer? I want to make a quick poll here, if you don't mind, because if you don't do it, if you're just listening to me, you will fall asleep. Okay, so I just want to ask this one simple questions here. What's your bandwidth? Can you go to this link? And there's only one question there. Okay. The choice there is actually the 4 bandwidth just now, 0 to 5, 5 to 40, 40 to 100, and 100 plus to 100 to 500 plus. Okay, so I'll give you 1 minute to respond to this one. And I will switch to my web browser. Where is it? Oops, this one. So Tamira, can you see my Google form?
Yes, Prof. Karim, I can see your Google form, and I've also posted the link that you mentioned just now. I've posted it in the live event Q&A as an announcement.
Thank
so
you.
I hope everyone will help click on that and they can answer.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. Let me switch to the PowerPoint in case there are people miss the participant missing the link. So let's wait for another 1 minute. By the way, how many participants we have?
Earlier on, just now, we started with 50 plus. I think more have come in. Our producer, Ms. Sada, would have the numbers.
Okay.
I think she will share that. She'll share that soon.
Okay, yeah. Because I just want to check whether everyone has, or most has have respond to these questions.
Actually, Prof, while we are waiting a little bit for people to respond, we've got 42 responses now.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, Prof, there are 2 questions here. Maybe I can ask them. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
One question asked, how do you define low bandwidth? How low is considered low? So I guess that was answered just now, but maybe kalau Prof boleh share sekali lagi.
Yeah.
And another question is, a survey shows that most UM students say that they have moderate connectivity. So we are wondering, is this moderate connectivity considered low bandwidth?
Yeah, moderate connectivity. I guess if they do the speed testing, if we ask the students to do the speed testing, I would say the moderate one probably anything below or above 40 Mbps. That will be 40 Mbps. Actually is quite fast already. I would say between the 5 to 40 would be the moderate one, but above 5, I think a lot can be done. The low bandwidth, I think if the student has the speed below 1 Mbps, I would consider that to be low, but anywhere between 1 to 5, to me, well, some people say it's in the low bandwidth, but to me, it's still a lot can be done. They can still browse the website and so on. So if the students say moderate, I guess that's between 5 to 40 in the red zone here. In the red zone here, 5 to 40 Mbps, and that basically we can do a lot. We can do a lot. But we need to know, and they have to do the speed testing and tell us what exactly is their bandwidth. So we can see here from out of the responses so far, I guess this is among the lecturers, right? The participants, not the students. Do we have students in this group?
Most likely it would be mostly lecturers, and actually, Prof, we have about 130 participants now, so I think about half have responded.
All right, okay. So we can see there's still some, we have a blue here, between 0 to 5 Mbps, but the red one is, I would say this is the moderate one, 5 to 40. Then we have this orange or yellow, orange color, 40 to 100 Mbps. And the lucky one, the lucky one is between 100 to 500 Mbps. Wow, this one is almost, by Malaysian standard, a blazing speed. But if you are in this orange zone, 40 to 100, I guess nothing much to complain. We can do a lot. We can do a lot. But we are more concerned of the students. If the students are actually in this red zone, maybe I would say these are the moderate kind of bandwidth. Then we should not worry very much. We can do a lot. We can do a lot. But what we are worried actually the blue one. If they are on the upper range, let's say around 4 or 5 Mbps, I think that's still not bad. But below that, perhaps they will have some problem. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone. At least I know you are doing something there. Let me switch back to. So those are the two questions so far, Dr. Mira.
We have an additional few more questions. Maybe I'll just ask those that are related to bandwidth right now.
Okay.
So one question is from somebody who asks, what is the solution for students that are living in suburb areas with low signal and not stable?
If we have to find out how many of them, and if they have no other means to get a stable connection, meaning that they always drop or disconnected. So maybe for those, we have to, that's the category almost like the without internet connection. So those are the smaller group that we still need to take care, and we need to use a different approach, like even using the WhatsApp or the Telegram. That would be, for them, I think those were very, very poor internet connection. We can still use WhatsApp or Telegram, or even in the worst situation, we have to send them the content through other means like using the pen drive, CD-ROM, and so on. But today, I think that the focus is more, at least they have some connection, even though very, very poor or very unstable. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Prof. And there's one more question also related to bandwidth. Is there an inventory of questions that we could ask our learners to gauge their connectivity?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I have one sample, very good actually. I wanted to share. Okay. There is one very good one I found, but unfortunately I forgot to share the link in this. But never mind, I will share the link later, Dr. Mira.
Okay, that would be great.
I found one very good. I thought I have included it, but let me check again. Okay, but there is here. Jawapannya adalah yes. There's one. The inventory of question. Okay.
Okay, now, and when Prof shares it to us, we will share it as well to the viewers via our chat groups.
Yeah, good question. yes, we have one sample of very good questionnaire that we can ask the students, get information from them. Okay, let me continue a little bit more. Now, transitioning from face-to-face to online is not easy for most, I would say most educators, most lecturers. Myself, even though I've been doing it for a long time, I can imagine it is very intimidating and very daunting for most people, especially if you have no experience or very little experience doing online. Okay, because you need a different mindset, different skill set. So these are the two things I want to mention here, very important. You need to adopt a different mindset, open mind. Then also you need to develop a new skill set to be able to be competent to conduct your online course. So skill set and mindset, these are two things. But the bottom line, before we start to planning, design, and delivering our online class, online course, we need to put the students at the center. So always start with the student in mind. Just like our OBE, start with the end in mind, and in this case, start with the student in mind. Then we can't go wrong if we have the student in mind. Everything should be guided with the best interest of students in mind. And when it comes to the bandwidth classification or internet connection, we can actually group the students into three groups. The first one is, you can see on the left here, with a big Wi-Fi symbol there. These are the students who are probably in the 40 plus bandwidth, 40 to 100 kind of. So they have a very good connection. So we need not worry about designing for this group. But our concern here in this presentation here are those that having very little or very poor connection. Okay, so these are so-called low bandwidth, anywhere between 5, and below. Maybe we can call it bandwidth, or maybe 1 and below is even worse. Is even very very low, very unstable even. But of course, we should not forget and neglect those without internet connection at all. But this one, we need a separate discussion on that. But we can still resort to the good old days where the correspondence course, the ODL, or the distant learning kind of way, how we can still send the student the material and so on using the we can put the content online, on the pen drive and things like that. Okay, but our focus here is actually the second group here, the so-called low bandwidth group. And when we look at how we can deliver online learning or online class, there are two modes of learning. One is called synchronous and the other one is asynchronous. By now, I think most of you probably know the meaning of this through other webinars. But basically, synchronous is just like what we are doing now. There's a real-time interaction. You can see me, I can see you. I cannot see you now, but you can hear me. We can have interaction, so everything is in real time, just like we are doing it face-to-face, physically in the class. The other one is asynchronous, meaning that we have the learning platform. It can be the learning platform like your Spectrum, can be the website, can be any platform where we can put the content there and we can, design the learning lesson plan, everything there. But the student can have access 24/7, but the lecturer is not there to facilitate or to have a real-time interaction. So that's asynchronous. But when we talk about a low bandwidth access for students that having the low bandwidth or poor low internet connectivity, I think we should minimize the synchronous. We should go for more asynchronous because we give the flexibility for them to access when they have a good connection. Sometimes during the different time of the day, maybe the strength, the Wi-Fi strength, the signal is maybe different. So we give the flexibility to our students by by designing our online class or online course more towards the asynchronous. Okay, so what are the factors, the aspect that we need to pay attention to when designing for the low bandwidth delivery? First, as I mentioned just now, start with the students in mind. So know your students. Okay, who are they? So all this while maybe we don't really know our students. We just go into the classroom, step out from the classroom, and we just give our lecture. Then we have very little interaction. But this is time that perhaps we want to get to know our students more. Where are they? Their hometown, their location, so that we know, and more importantly, whether they have the internet connection, what kind of connection they have, what kind of bandwidth they have, what of the devices that they use to access the e-learning, and what are their learning environments like. Because sometimes we tend to forget this, where the empathy is very important. I always mention this 3 times: empathy, empathy, empathy. We need to put ourselves in their situation. Let's not forget the time when we were students. Okay, some people are staying in a very small house. They have 10 siblings, so very difficult for them to focus on when they want to go to online, because the environment is not very conducive. But we expect them to send the assignment or respond to the activity. So we need to have the empathy here. Okay, so first, know your students. So the 3 groups of students based on the internet connectivity just now, based on the bandwidth, the lowest denominator would be those without internet connection at all. But since our presentation here is actually focusing more on this low bandwidth, so in this case, the lowest denominator within the group of students that have internet access are those that have very slow connection, very little, a very small bandwidth. Okay, so these are some of the, I would say, the tips or the advices that perhaps all of us, including myself, should pay attention to when we plan and design our online class for the low bandwidth group. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. KISS, K-I-S-S. Okay, keep it simple. So the slide itself is very simple to illustrate the message. Keep it simple. How simple is simple? Okay, you can see this when you download the PDF of my PowerPoint. This is actually the active link where you can click and will take you to the sample course. So you can do this after the workshop, yeah. But for now, I just want you to, I should give the actual link, but never mind. I want to show you one sample of keep it simple, yeah. And this is actually a lecturer from USM, very creative. She just used Google Form to create a simple lesson. So let me show you how it looks like. A Google Form. So this is where actually a lot of opportunities for us, the lecturers now, to be creative here. So if we say that our student must be creative, and this is also the time the lecturers also must be creative in using the tools in the best possible way, in a very creative manner. So you can see here, this is actually the subject here, kaedah mengajar murid masalah perkembangan bahasa. This is part of this course, and this is actually a small lesson as part of this course. Okay, this is from our School of Education. So she is using the Google platform here. So nama pelajar, nombor matrix, so meaning that she will capture the information of the students, and this is the instruction. Okay, and instead of a question or a survey, she used actually Google Form also to deliver content. So you can see here, bahagian 1 menonton video ini. So the student has to watch the video. The video can see only 10 minutes.
Salam sejahtera, topik.
And we teach them also how to compress the video so that the video has a small size and the students can view on their phone easily.
Yang kita nak bincang hari ini ialah pengajaran bahasa dan komunikasi untuk kanak-kanak.
So she delivered the content a little bit. Then after that, there's some activity, okay? And of course, because she's using Google Form, it's very easy to create the activity here because everything will be recorded in the Google Sheets after that. Then the answer here. Then some more content here, some more content. Then activities, some more content. Then feedback. The students have to give feedback, reflections, and submit. That's what simplicity means. Okay, I want to know what's your feedback. What do you think about this kind of simple lesson? You can just put in the chat box. But I won't be able to read your feedback anyway. So keep it simple. That's one. Because remember, low bandwidth, right? Low bandwidth. Oh, we know it's already 12 minutes past 4, okay? Now, then keep it short, keep it light. These are three things. Keep it simple, keep it short, keep it light. What's the meaning? Keep it light. For example, the video, keep it short, 3 minutes or less, or 10 minutes the most. Then compress it. Compress the size, which I will show you in the slides later. Compress it so that, preferably the size of the video should be 10 megabyte or less. 5 megabyte even better. So that's meaning the light, okay, not very heavy. Okay. If the student has 5 Mbps, no problem. 40 Mbps, even better. Now, another thing is, when we design the content, just like just now, 10 minutes small lesson here, it doesn't actually make it very heavy. So because we want to avoid the cognitive overload, because always the tendency is we want to give content. The content-centric kind of mindset is still there. Even in the face-to-face, and when we go to online, still we want to give content as much as we can. I think this has to change, okay? Because we want to avoid cognitive overload. Now, one of the thing that when people go to online a few weeks ago, the common question that we get, Prof, how do we convert our content to video? How do we what kind of application we can use to convert to PDF? How to do this? How to do that? What kind of tools? So all is about content and all about tools that we need to convert the content. You don't have to learn so many different tools. I would say maybe the most like 3 or 4. Enough. So choose your tools wisely, but use them effectively. Okay? After some time, then of course you can learn more so that you have a range of tools you can use and develop a very good content for online. But choose them and then use effectively. And make sure when we choose the tools, like in this case, just now we use Google Form, right? Learn how to use it properly, effectively, and make sure that the student can view it on their phone easily. So make sure it will work on the mobile phone. Always remember, low bandwidth students will access from their phone. Okay. So the mindset has to change. It's no more content-centric. We have to be very prudent, very careful in terms of what content that we want to deliver. It's not about content, but it's about how we design the kind of constructivist approach to learning by having a series of learning activities that the students can do. And these activities would allow the students to engage engage with the content, engage with their peers, engage with us. So engage them cognitively, engage them emotionally. So we address the cognitive aspect, the affective aspect, and so on. So we need to move from the mindset of the teacher or the lecturer is responsible to cover the syllabus for the 14 weeks, but we flip this concept. Why not we design a series of activities? We just give only the essential, the most critical content, but we have series of activities where the students have to do the activities, and by doing those activities in the process, we will get the students to uncover the content. That's where they will learn the concept, the principles, and be able to apply and so on. So don't focus on covering the syllabus or the content, but empower students to uncover it. I love this kind of philosophy here. It's really 360 degree, this 60 degree flipping of the concept of how we deliver our online course or even our course face to face. So the next thing, in order to achieve this, we really have to do some rethinking of how we design our online for the low bandwidth especially. Because if we address the issue for the low bandwidth, then the higher bandwidth would be covered. So the next thing is rethink your instructional strategy. This is where we need to be creative. So I've shown you the example of Google Form just now, how the lecturer actually used the Google Form to design a small lesson where she embed the content. She has the content and she has the activities. She has the reflection, assessment, feedback, everything within the small lesson. Okay. So rethink your strategy, instructional strategy, and be creative. So this is where we need to have this kind of mindset now. In remote teaching especially, because we are doing this in very little time. Everything is kind of rushed. So we have to think of less is more. But when actually less is more? And when more is desirable, when we need more. When we need less is more. So this is actually the title that I presented to UMT last week or this week. So what I'm proposing here is, we can actually realize the constructivist approach actually by designing very good, meaningful learning activities, especially to get cognitive engagement. But these activities, keep in mind, must be suitable for the low bandwidth group. So, for example, here, these are one of the tools that we can use. I'm sure most of you know this. It's a simple tool and yet very powerful when it comes to designing learning activities here. So at this point, if I can get you to do this activity with me, can you all go to socrative.com? Yeah, just type socrative.com. Okay, and then let me go to the website here, socrative.com. Then you click login, and today you become a student. So now you become temporarily my student. So when you click student login, then then you will be asked for room name. So the room name is IMK 209. Yeah, you can see on the screen IMK 209. And please put your name, your real name or your nickname is okay. There are 5 questions here, so I just want to illustrate. And is it this activity can be considered low bandwidth activity? I think yes. If the students in the band of 0 to 5 just now, or 1 to 5 Mbps, I think they can do this quite successfully. Okay. So there are 5 questions there on copyright. This is interesting. Okay, I can see, and I will switch this. Then I will come back to this screen in 2 minutes time. Okay. Don't worry so much about getting the question right or wrong, but perhaps you want to give it a try to the best of your ability to answer the questions. But don't spend too much time because this already 4:20. Supposed to stop at 4:30 and open to Q&A. Time flies. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes to do the exercise while I'm having my drink here. But we are doing this actually in real time, synchronous. But actually, we can design this activity also for asynchronous. Socrative is my all-time favorite tool, which I use a lot in my flipped classroom. I use Socrative as a pre-class activity. I use Socrative during the class. I use Socrative also as post-class activity for reinforcement after the class. So Socrative, if you have not used Socrative before, I highly recommend you to explore this. Yeah, I think Dr. Amira mungkin dah biasa kot ya. Dr. Amira, do you know Socrative, right, Dr. Amira?
Yes, Prof. Sorry. Yeah, I do. Thanks.
Okay. Let me quickly switch to this. Belum. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. We get. All right. This is how it looks like on the teacher side. If you have used before, then you know very well. And why I like Socrative, whether I use this synchronously or asynchronously, I can see very quickly how the students perform. Then I can also do the item analysis. I can see where I should intervene, do the intervention. So for example, number 1, this quiz every time. Question number 1 always get a lot of red. Wrong answer. Every time without fail. Question number 1 always, so meaning that, I can focus the class, I can focus my attention to discuss more, to spend more time to discuss question number 1. Don't worry so much about this, but I just want to illustrate when I say about having more activities to engage the students cognitively. The tool that I use as an example here is Socrative, but of course there are other tools, but just to give you some ideas of what I mean by the cognitive engagement by having the activities and using the tool that students can use for the low bandwidth, those in the low bandwidth group. So I have actually a small video here, but maybe I can skip this one. Because you are doing it now, so you know how the things actually take place. So the good thing is after the students have done the activity, you can get actually good analysis, and from here actually you can tailor your discussion, which question that you want to focus more based on the performance. Okay, so that is actually Socrative. Another one that another tool, which also one of my favorite tool, by the way, is Quizlet. Okay, so you can this is actually the video how the things work. Actually, I want to get you to also do this, but I want to save some time here. So this is how it looks like on the phone, on the student's phone. Okay, so this is a simple kind of a low-level Bloom taxonomy, low-level kind of activity where the students can recall the facts and so on. So basically, when I click this, oops, I'm not on the website actually. Where is it? Yeah, this one here. So this is actually a flashcard here, so the students can flip the card and learn about the facts. So simple analysis which can be done even for the low bandwidth group, as long as they can have access to the web browser. I think this kind of activity can be designed into our online class. Okay. So I have a few more slides here, Dr. Mira. I think the next important thing when designing for low bandwidth, Just now we talk about rethink about our instructional strategy. And the next thing is about rethink our content strategy. Of course, just now I mentioned that content, we should move from content-centric into more of the designing of the instructional strategy to be more active learning, more cognitive engagement. But when it comes to content, of course, we still need to deliver some content, but we need to rethink the strategy, not just on content development, but on how we design and deliver the strategy. So there are the 4 things here. The first is maybe we want to create a low bandwidth version of our course, then use micro learning, or maybe we can consider an audio only course, or maybe even in the worst scenario, with very low bandwidth, unstable connection, maybe we can consider a text only course. So these are the 4 points here when we talk about rethink about content strategy, how we design and deliver them. So let's look at this one. How do we create a low bandwidth version of your course? So this is where, as you can see, people now I start to see a lot of many of our colleagues also using WhatsApp and Telegram. So we can actually deliver the lesson through WhatsApp and Telegram. So I've actually done a full video on this one, and the link is given also in the slide, on the last slide. Don't worry, you can access this. Teaching using WhatsApp or Telegram in COVID-19 time. So if you want to learn more and the step-by-step of how to do it, how to use WhatsApp and Telegram for this purpose, feel free to go and watch this video or go to my YouTube channel and you can find the video there. Delivering low bandwidth content to everyone with a phone but poor internet connection. I have another video also, creating a short lesson using WhatsApp or Telegram. So feel free to watch this video. But between these two, some people ask, which one should we use, WhatsApp or Telegram? I think it's more a matter of preference, but according to this article, 11 reasons why you should use Telegram instead of WhatsApp, which you can read on the internet. It seems like the Telegram has more advantages in terms of the file management. You can also create a simple quiz in Telegram. You can find a video on YouTube. So there seems to be more advantages of using Telegram than WhatsApp. But at the end of the day, I think it's down to the preference of you and your students as well. We have to ask the student which one you prefer, WhatsApp or Telegram. Then we go along with them, I guess. And the other thing is use micro-learning. Use micro-learning. What is micro-learning? This is where the less is more. Okay, in terms of delivering our content, I think we need to be more kind of selective as to what content that is most critical that we want to deliver to the student. So this is where, because just now I mentioned about empower the students to uncover the syllabus by doing more activities rather than giving them more content. And when we talk about less content, we have to decide. It's a difficult thing to decide which one is the most essential and critical versus important. But based on our experience and our expertise, I think we can do that decision. So if you, I'm sure you are very familiar with this quadrant: urgent and important, urgent but not important but not urgent, not important, not urgent. So in terms of content, actually, we have to decide which one is the most urgent or the most critical and also important. So these are perhaps the content that we want to choose. This is the one that we want to deliver on our learning platform or on our website or through the WhatsApp or Telegram. But the rest, what about the rest of the content? Perhaps we can design this through the activities, to the reading assignment, and other learning activities. Still they will be able to cover the content but on their own. So this is where the skill of self-directed learning or self-regulated learning become more important. We have to teach the student to be more independent now, but we give them only the essential and the most critical content. The rest they will have to discover that by doing the activities. So when we talk about micro-learning, deliver more for less, basically this is what we call bite-sized learning, the process of learning through short, digestible, well-planned units. Because of the short concentration span of the student nowadays, so basically what we can do, look at the content, decide which one is the most critical. Then once we have decided that, we have to break up those content into a small chunk, and we can deliver that through a video, through audio, podcast, through maybe notes and some other format. It doesn't have to be in the form of video, but nevertheless, it has to be in a small chunk. So that's a bite-sized learning or micro-learning. And I've given on this slide, which you can explore after the presentation, because this link is a clickable link. But if you like, you can go to this now, this one, the first one, yeah, bit.ly/jom.jam. This is actually a 10 minutes micro lesson, and you can see it on your phone how it looks like. So I will play a video here in case you don't want to go to your phone now, but this is how it looks like on the left here. This is how the lesson looks like on the phone, yeah. But if you want to see how it looks like on your phone now, you can just go to this link and put the password 1234, and feel free to explore after the workshop, after this session as well. But this is example of how you can deliver content in a small chunk, yeah. And I thought this is a good example. And the same lesson, actually, I designed the same lesson using Google Site.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Your Time Cracker Jacks. Today, I'm gonna...
Okay. The same lesson I designed using Google Site, and the same lesson I designed using Google Slide. So Google Site and Google Slide. And you will see that by using this free application on your computer, because this is actually free, Google Site and Google Slide, you can design similar lesson easily, and students can access to it also. Even with the low bandwidth, they can easily access this lesson. So this is what I mean by micro learning, and give you some idea of how you can design the lesson in that format. Okay. And this is another sample. So I leave it to you to explore again after the workshop. Okay. And basically, how do we design the content into a micro lesson or micro content? So these are some of the steps, but I'm not going to go through this one. Another option is just audio. You can also use audio only. So using your WhatsApp, you can use the audio, the microphone, and just talk. Or you can also use a proper podcast lesson to create the audio lesson. Okay, so I have shown how to do it in this video. Create a lesson with podcast. Feel free to watch this video on my YouTube channel, and the link is given also on the slide at the end. And if you want to create a good podcast, this is so far I think the best free application that you can use. This is called Anchor. So you can go to the website. You can create your podcast on the website, or you can also download the app and you can create your podcast on your phone. So easy. You can create your content in the form of audio on the fly, even while relaxing on the sofa or lying on the bed. You can create podcasts. So easy. I'm not exaggerating. It's that easy. Yeah. So you can see here, Anchor is an all-in-one platform where you can create, distribute, and monetize your podcast from any device for free. Yeah. And If you like to see how it looks like on your phone, that's the link which you can try. But I'm going to show you here how it looks like on the phone, yeah, and how it sounds.
Why students forget and what you can do about it. This is a very interesting topic and also very important, especially for educators. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hello.
Okay, stop there. So you can see here is the title of the podcast or title of the lesson and some description, and the students simply click and listen on their phone. How easy is that? So we can deliver also our lesson in this way. But what if you have the slide? So what you can do is you can actually email the slide to the students. So you can say in your podcast now, okay, slide 1, then just talk about what is it about the slide 1, then go to slide 2. So they will refer to the slide while they are listening to your podcast. That's another way of doing it. Yeah. Of course, you can do this using the WhatsApp. Okay, I forgot to show the sample there, but okay, while waiting for that, yeah. Okay, that's the link if you want to explore. And this is how it looks like on the website of Anchor, the same lesson that just now. So you can see here, we can get some statistic as well. How many people have listened to the podcast, and you can even actually monetize. If you wish, you can monetize also the podcast, yeah. But that's not the focus of this presentation. And when I share this video about using podcasts, I'm so happy to see there's so many actually lecturers in USM and other universities start doing podcasts. So I want to share with you with permission. This is actually from UITM lecturer. I don't know whether Dr. Zaibunisa here watching this, following this webinar. So she actually create the podcast using Anchor, and then distribute it on on the Spotify platform. So you can see here, these are actually the small lesson for this topic, new product, for this course, new food product development. So the student actually, Spotify is actually very popular application. They can download Spotify, or they can download the application Anchor. So they have the choice to listen to the lesson either on any app, yeah. So they can play and they can listen to the lesson. So this is very suitable for the low bandwidth. Even those between 1 to 5 Mbps should be able to listen to the podcast. Okay, so yeah, that's a sample. Worst scenario, consider a text-only course. So we can deliver this through WhatsApp. Just now, I put MK to show you the sample that I made on my WhatsApp. INK to yep. So this is an example of how we can deliver a complete lesson, a small lesson. In this case, this is a course, title of the course. Then we tell the student, okay, this course is this lesson is 15 minutes. What's the topic? Okay, and then the title of the lesson. Then the specific learning outcome for that lesson. Then this is your slide, which you convert into image, and then you can use the microphone, in the WhatsApp.
Hi, hello.
To give some explanation about the slide. You can also add video, but if you want to share video, in your WhatsApp or Telegram, you have to compress the video using a specific application to make it very light. Yeah, remember, the video also must be very short, between 1 to 3 minutes. Then it must be compressed so that it become very, very light. Okay, so yeah, be mindful when using video. Ask yourself whether is it video really necessary. If it's not necessary, then don't use video. But if it's necessary, then you must optimize the video for the WhatsApp and Telegram. And how to do that, I have shown in this video on the YouTube channel. You can go to this video to watch the step-by-step how to compress the video using this application called Clipchamp Utilities. And I've shown how to do that in the video. Or you can also download a free application called Handbrake, a very, very popular application to compress the video to make it small in size, available for PC as well as for Mac. Yeah, so either you can use a web-based free application here, Clipchamp Utilities. You don't have to download anything, or you can download this application Handbrake to compress your video. But you must understand what all these different setting means in order to compress your video to the smallest possible file size. Yeah. Okay. Another thing that I think when you use video, try to create caption for the video. Remember, when we talk about inclusiveness, those that cannot watch the video, maybe they have the eyesight problem, or they are blind, so maybe or they cannot listen the video, so we can create captions. So it's good to have captions in the video as much as you can, if you can do that. Or if you are doing audio like podcast just now, why not make a transcript of that video as well? So you have the video, or you have the audio, you have the video, and you have the caption, or you have the audio and you have the transcript. And how to do the transcript easily? You can use this app. This app is called Author. Okay, so you can go to the website author.ai. This is a free application. You can do the transcript up to 600 minutes audio. 600 minutes, that is what? 10 hours worth of audio for free account. That's more than enough. So if you want to do transcript of your audio, this is one of the application you can try. I will make a short video on this one, but maybe there's also a tutorial video already in the YouTube. Yeah. And finally, Dr. Amira, I know you are waiting for me to wrap up this one. Get creative with the cost distribution, and if necessary, encourage offline viewing, and maybe we can distribute also our content on CD or USB drive for those who really have problem to access, with those without internet connection even. Maybe we can have CDs and distribution also on the USB drive. So these are some of the useful resources. Once you download the PDF file of this PowerPoint, you can actually go to access all these things to supplement the presentation today. So you have all the resources that you need. So the take-home message, basically, I think we need to have a different mindset when we do online class, online course. Then we have to develop a new skill set, and then continue to practice by developing the content and continue to learn new tricks of the trade, how to make our online course more effective, more engaging. And you need to have a content and learning design strategy for low bandwidth access, and always keep in mind in terms of the engagement, because this is a big issue, how to keep the learners' interest using appropriate tools for low bandwidth access. So finally, I wish everyone to stay safe and stay hungry, stay foolish. If always my favorite slide in all my presentation, because I like the meaning of stay hungry for new knowledge, and stay foolish so that we can always be creative and innovative. Just go crazy and don't bother what people say, just do it. That's how the scientists discovered new invention and so on, because people say they are crazy and fool, but they are not, And finally, from me, as usual, stay strong. So, Dr. Amira, maybe we can look at some of the questions that I can maybe try to answer. Tak dengar, Dr. Amira. I think you maybe have to unmute.
Right. Thank you, Prof. Kari. Thanks for the reminder. Thank you so much for that amazing presentation. It just flew by like so quickly. We have a lot of questions, about 24 questions. So I will try to get through as many of them as possible.
All right.
So I will start now. Really very quickly.
Before that, Dr. Amira, I think the participant can take the picture of the slide. There's a link to download the PowerPoint.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Prof. So that will be the slides. I'd like to also remind participants that please do get the slides from the Bitly link that Prof. Karim has uploaded on screen for us. And at the same time, we'll also later on be sharing all the links of Prof. Karim's slides that Prof shared just now into an ADEC Padlet, and you can also hopefully later on view this webinar again on recording in the ADEC Padlet. Okay, but before that, I think I will have to, my apologies to those who still have questions to ask. We have quite a number of questions already, so I will be closing the live event Q&A so that we can get through as many questions that have already been posted now. So Prof. Karim, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, yeah, Prof is always ready. Okay, so for the first question that we have here, somebody is asking, is there an inventory of questions that we could ask our learners to gauge their connectivity? I think I already asked this question just now, but if Prof can quickly recap on that.
Yeah, there is. I found one. I thought I wanted to share that inventory of questions, but I forgot. But I will find that, and I will find the link. The link I will share with Dr. Amira, and Dr. Amira hopefully can share after this.
Okay, all right, thanks, Prof. So the next question, in terms of the tools used, is there any difference in students learning via smartphone versus laptop?
Oh, well, I think it's not so much of the device, the type of device, but the type of activity that we design. Most of the tools that we can use to design the activities are actually suitable for, in fact, actually designed mainly with the smartphone in mind. So if the students use a laptop, then to me, it's not much different in terms of the interface. But to me, it's more important is how we design the activity based on what exactly we want to achieve, what we want the students to get in terms of learning, in terms of the content, in terms of the engagement, and those activities must be aligned with the learning outcome for that particular lesson. So to me, whether they are using laptop or phone doesn't really matter, I think. In fact, I think most of them will use phone.
Yeah, I think many of them didn't bring their laptops back home. So yeah, that'd be very, very useful. It's very good to know as well that we don't have to worry whether they're using laptops or phones. But there is another question now asking about the phone data. So many students will be relying on personal phone data. How do we cater emergency online lessons for them who have to spend money on the data and don't have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, that's always commonly asked. This is always an issue, especially with the students. and we understand because some of them are actually have very limited package. Those with the unlimited package, we did not worry. So that's why now I think the telco is now has come in to kind of help the students by giving them like one gig every day, at least for this during this few months time. But otherwise, if one way to address that is by first not doing so much of synchronous, because I was told if we do like 1 hour webinar like this streaming, the student can use up to 1 gig. So meaning that their data just finish, just drain just like that. So streaming is actually very data heavy, data consuming. So we need to do more of asynchronous. And for the asynchronous, even if we use some video from YouTube, that also will consume some data. So we need to really decide. That's why I said, in terms of content, we have to be really be very prudent in terms of how much content that we want to deliver. The most critical, the most important content. The rest, I think we can trim out and make it like just a series of learning activities. So yeah, we need to keep in mind about the data because students are very particular about that.
There's a related question on that, Prof. What is the minimum gig to qualify for low bandwidth?
Well, there's no, I think that there's no hard and fast rule, but some people say if they have 1 Mbps and lower, that's perhaps considered as on the low end of the low bandwidth. But between 1 to 5, that is considered kind of low bandwidth. But from my understanding, if the student have 4 or 5 Mbps, there is still meaning that they can still browse the web browser using the web browser. So we can still use the web browser as a platform to deliver our online course.
What about the amount of gig or the amount of data that they consume? What would be reasonable for someone who has low bandwidth, or is that completely not connected at all?
Again, it depends on the type of content that we have in the course or in the lesson. So I think if we have very few video, I don't think the amount of data used is much. If they use just audio, we have a lot of audio. If they use WhatsApp, for example, we have some audio, some pictures, and some text, just like the example that I've shown just now. Or using the Google form, just like the example of one of the lecturers just now. I don't think it will consume too much data. So as much as we can, I think try to reduce the number of videos that we have. I think video is the most data hungry. Try to minimize. And if we use our own learning platform, compress the video and then upload to the learning platform like on your Spectrum. That actually, I think, use less data compared to streaming via YouTube. I may be wrong, but so far that from our learning platform, I think the students probably we don't have much complaint in terms of accessing and using too much data from our learning platform.
Okay, so that will be good to know. Be careful of the kind of contents that we give so that it doesn't consume too much data. There's another question here asking for students on 0 to 5 Mbps. Is it still safe for them to do online exams?
Well, it's hard to say because we don't have actually experience yet, and not many universities actually have experience doing online exam, fully online exam. So I won't. I'm not able to give a very definite answer because we don't really have a proper testing proper, I mean, we don't have experience, put it that way, we don't have experience. It's quite risky, I think. If they have 5 Mbps or lower, perhaps quite risky. Anything above that, maybe not so bad. But again, I don't have a definite answer here because we don't have any experience.
Yeah, we are in emergency remote teaching
Yeah.
mode, so yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
difficult in that sense. Now I've got a question about the Google Form video. So someone posted here, using Google Form, how big can the video be for the lecture? For example, the example just now was 10 minutes, whereas our lecture is about 1 to 2 hours. I think Prof has a lot to say about this.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. I think we need to change. Remember, I mentioned about the kind of a different kind of mindset, a different approach, a different strategy when we design our course into online. The 1 hour face-to-face does not have to translate to 1 hour online. Okay, so I'm sure UM has a guideline of how you translate into the, I mean, in terms of the SLT, everything. So where is the example just now? Yeah, no. It is, yeah, this one. So this is only like 10 minutes video. Then I don't know, this activity will take a few more minutes. Then this another, like, how long is this? 11 minutes, so that 20 minutes already. There's another video. The last one, I think. The last one is 12. So that's about 30, 32, 35 the most minutes in terms of the content of the video. And then there is activities that students have to do. So everything amount to a total up to probably perhaps about 45 minutes. That's almost like 1 hour face-to-face as well. So it's just a matter of how we design and break up the content and the activities in between, so that it aligns with the whatever learning outcomes already set out for this particular class. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. And touching on the length of time and also video, there's a question here asking, if we record lecture that is synchronous and upload it, for example, to Moodle, can the student with low bandwidth open this recorded lecture, which was recorded synchronously, or is it better for us to manually record a lecture instead of streaming and recording, but we manually record a lecture into an MP4 file? And would it be easier for students to actually open and watch that lecture?
I'm not sure whether the recorded, like just like this session, right? We record the session, then we upload the recorded session to the learning to our LMS. Whether those with a low bandwidth would have issue to watch the video. I would not. The easiest way, just upload the recorded video, the recorded session, live session into the learning platform, right? But I think we need to put more effort there. I would not put the 1 hour recorded video and let the students to watch. That's too long. So I would do some post editing, break it up into like 4 segments. Then maybe I would compress the video first to the smallest size. I'm talking about, I can reduce the size to like 480p maximum, 440p video, and then reduce the bit rate, whatever, using the application like Handbrake just now that I shared, and then only upload that to the learning platform. That would make the video shorter and lighter. But of course, there's some extra work, but I guess there's a sacrifice on our part to really make sure the students would be able to access. A lot of work. It's not easy. Teaching is not easy.
but we can learn from each other, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier. Here's another question. I think it's a question about if the lecturer herself or the lecturer himself has low bandwidth, is it possible to use any apps to help record audio or video directly, like Flipgrid?
Yeah, as we saw in the survey just now, right? Yeah, the low bandwidth, I guess those in the 0 to 5 Mbps, there are not many. But if really you don't have, yeah, but I know there are some lecturers also in USM, they don't have actually the fixed internet at home. They only use the hotspot from their phone. We have. So in that situation, can the lecturers use their phone to develop content? Well, it might be limited. It might be limited in the ability to do it, but it's not impossible. Because the apps that I've shared just now, most of it, for example, the Socrative and even like this one I didn't show just now. Yeah, actually, again, those having only the phone and only the broadband can still use Google Doc, Google Site, Google Slide, Google Site. This is Google Site. Let me show my Google Site. So can you see how many people are familiar with Google Site? This is how I designed my course in the Google Site. The same course that I just now, the strawberry one. I designed this course in Google Site and Google Slide. Whoa, these two applications is actually very powerful. You don't need to buy expensive application. You can do whatever this particular lesson was created in the Articulate Rise, part of Articulate 360, and you have to pay the license about 4,000 ringgit for the whole package. But I have proven that I can reproduce the same lesson in Google Site and Google Slide. So don't forget in my
matching video.
Yeah, in my who say that? Oh, my Google Assistant. You shut up, okay? Google Assistant kadang-kadang sibuk. Okay, nanti you all cuba tengok dalam my slide nanti bila you all download mana ya? Sorry ya. Pas. Yang ni this one this one. So this lesson was created in Articulate Rise, which we have to pay 4,000 ringgit for one license. But I have reproduced the course, the same lesson in Google Site and Google Slide. So have a look. For those only have their phone and the broadband, don't fret, don't be alarmed, don't feel. You can still use Google Form to create your quiz, Google Site to create your lesson and make it as your platform, and Google Slide to do other things. So the answer for that, the long answer for the short question there, yes, it's possible. You just need to learn the tools, tricks of the trade.
Okay, yeah, we're learning quite a few now. I'm not able to ask all of the questions here. So some of those questions that have already sort of been covered during Prof's presentation just now, I will leave be. Hopefully we can get some just now from what we heard. But there is one question that I would like to ask. Maybe perhaps it's the final question. Dear Prof, says somebody, are there any methods or strategy differences between fields and subject area? for example, between arts, humanities, social sciences versus STEM when conducting e-learning with limited internet?
Between fields. Well, if we're talking about, like, say, pure sciences, engineering, medical, compared to social science, humanities, and so on. Yeah, maybe in some ways, yes, especially in science, for example, like mathematics. Take it, for example, mathematics. So the way the approach to teach sciences with a lot of kind of that needs more hands-on kind of teaching, hands-on learning. The mathematics lecturers still prefer to kind of write and explain things like that. To transform that into the online, maybe it's not straightforward. If you talk about remote teaching, emergency remote teaching, where everything we need to do within a very short time, that probably make it very kind of difficult. But if we do a proper kind of online learning, online course, and proper design, and we have time on our side, and we have the technical assistant and so on, then it might not be very difficult. I think for the humanities, social science, or arts, because it's very much content based, I think perhaps slightly easier. Maybe slightly easier to design the online course compared to the sciences. Because sciences, sometimes we need animation, we need to have demonstration of certain technique and so on. That requires more preparation and higher skill set, more skill set in terms of preparing the content. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. I guess we just need to be really a bit more creative and figure out what to do, and hopefully the MCO will be lifted and we can go back to normal classrooms very soon, inshallah. So with that, I would like to thank everybody for attending this webinar. Of course, thank you so very much to Prof. Karim for spending your time. I know that you're very busy. You're having lots and lots of invitations all over the country. So thank you so much for spending your time here. We will be putting up the links that Prof. Karim has shared. I'll put that up in an announcement in the live the live event Q&A, and we will also have a feedback form, which I hope that the participants will please take your QR code and please do give us feedback. And I will leave it back to Prof. Karim for any final parting words for all of our viewers.
Well, I would like to say to thank you EDEC, Dr. Amira, for having me. You can see Dr. Zahir there. You have all the experts over there. Dr. Zahir, yeah. So thank you so much to the participants for spending your time. I hope your time has been worthwhile. I hope you have learned something and some takeaway, some immediate practical ideas that you can apply in your own course. So I just want to say, stay strong because doing online is not easy. Keep on learning, and feel free to the final thing that I just want to say that if you have time, please visit my website. My YouTube channel, because I have a lot of videos there. Feel free to subscribe to my video, and also if you have any specific requests, let's say you want to know about how to do something, how to do this, how to do that, just post your question in any of the video there, because I check every day. I check any feedback or any question on my YouTube channel every day using the app on my phone, and I respond to almost all the feedback or all the questions. So thank you very much once again, and I hope can see you in other online session, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Okay,
Bye.
salam. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye, Dr. Zahir. Bye, Dr. Mira. Bye. Umu, is still there?
Yes,
Yeah.
she is. I'm a faithful producer.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, producer.
Okay, thank
Okay, bye.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.